Welcome back to On the Same Page. We are on the very bottom of Daf Yud Aleph Amud Beis. That's 11b of Maseches Taanis. Very bottom line where it says Amar Rav Chisda. So I just want to clarify something we spoke about last week. So the Gemara had said, Rav Huna had said, that if a person accepted a fast and then ate and drank all night because the fast starts in the day, so in the morning they would still say, now that when the fast starts in the morning, even though they just started fasting, they'd been eating all night, they would say Aneinu, they would say the special tefillah, the special prayer for the fast. Then Rav Huna said something a little bit more confusing. He said that if the person slept in their fast, they don't say Aneinu in the morning, meaning if they had a fast day, they went through the whole day, and then at nighttime they didn't break their fast, they slept right through it, and now it's morning again, and they come to daven. They haven't eaten now for 24 hours, at least. So they're still fasting, so should they say Aneinu? So Rav Huna said that they don't say Aneinu. So the Gemara explained that I believe it was Abaye. Yeah, Abaye said that what Rav Huna holds is as follows. He said, Rav Huna holds that you could be mis'ane l'sha'os. You can fast for hours, literally. And that's a confusing term. And that's what we're going to have to understand. You can fast for hours, which seems to mean you can take on in the middle that you're going to fast for a certain number, the remaining hours of the day. So in this case, the person woke up, it's the morning, and now they never really decided to fast last night. And now they're like, okay, I'm already fasting, let me continue to fast. So Rav Huna is saying in that case they wouldn't say Aneinu. So Abaye says normally when a person accepts to fast for hours from here on, they would say Aneinu. You could fast like that. It's considered an acceptance of a fast, and once you accept that, you're required to finish the fast. Mis'anin l'shos, and you would say Aneinu during that time. However, in the case of Rav Huna, the reason why Rav Huna said that this fellow who slept over and then woke up and said, oh, I'm fasting, the reason why he doesn't fast, Abaye said, the reason is because Ikka shows delilya de lo kabil alei. There were hours in the night where he didn't accept the fast. And what that means is that, what it seems to mean, is that this person has been fasting, and in his mind he's accepting an obligation of the fast, but he never officially accepted it. And because he never verbally or intentionally accepted the fast, then even though he's now still fasting, he can't just say Aneinu now. He has to say, I am now going to fast. He has to either declare it or think it, but he can't just in the middle say, oh, I've been fasting, so I'm going to continue the fast and say Aneinu. As opposed to in the case that we're about to talk about. The Gemara now says, the bottom, it says, Amar Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda said, Hada amart misanim l'shos, that which we have this rule that a person can fast for a specific number of hours, can take on a fast in the middle. V'hu shalotam klum ad hayar. That's where he didn't eat at all until evening. Or Rashi's version is that he didn't eat all day. That in order to have a fast for a specific number of hours, the case has to be where you didn't eat all day, which sounds like you're really fasting the whole day. So that's what Abaye said back to Rav Chisda, Amar le Abaye, ha Taanis ma'al yasahi. That's a proper fast. If you're fasting the whole day, then that's a proper fast. Meaning Abaye understood the halacha of mis'anin l'shos, that you can fast for a specific number of hours. Literally, mis'anin l'shos, you can fast for a specific number of hours. You can decide in the middle of the day and declare it, from here on I'm fasting, and that could be a good fast. And then that counts, and you'd say Aneinu, and all the laws that go with it. But Rav Chisda is saying, no. You can only have mis'anin l'shos if you're fasting the whole day. Well, Abaye says that's not l'shos, that's not for hours, that's the whole day. So the Gemara explains, no, we need it for the case de imlach imluche, where he changed his mind, he decided in the middle. So Rav Chisda is saying the case of mis'anim l'shos, where you can fast for a specific number of hours, is very specific. Really, it's only where you're fasting the whole day. But the idea is you only decided it in the middle. So the case would be that you woke up in the morning, you went to davening, you weren't planning to fast, and then halfway through the morning you realize you haven't eaten all day. So you said, you know what? I'm going to just accept the rest of the fast upon myself. In that situation, it's misanum l'shos. That works, and that's a fast. But you can't say at lunchtime, oh, that was a good lunch, right? After you eat lunch, I'm full. I'll fast until sunset, another 4 hours, right? So that's nothing. That's not a fast. You just ate, right? That's not misanum l'shos. So the case of misanum l'shos, where you can fast for a specific number of hours, it really means you're fasting the whole day. But the idea is that you only decided and accepted the fast part way through the day. Then the remainder of the day, where you now accept the fast, is considered a fast. You're required to fast once you accept it and you say anenu. And that's as opposed to what we had on the previous page, which we began our discussion with, where he never formally accepted the fast. He's fasted through the night, and he never really decided that he was fasting, or he never verbally accepted or mentally accepted it, and in that case, but he was still treating it like an obligation, his fasting, after the fact. He's like, I'm going to count that. So since he never really accepted to fast, that's where you don't say anenu all of a sudden. You get to anenu, you never plan to fast, you just decide right now. There you wouldn't say anenu. We'll see one more little detail about this now, which really completes the picture. Gemara continues, it says, Ve'amar Rav Chisda, and Rav Chisda said, Kol Taanis shaloshaka alav chama, lav shmei Taanis. A fast which the sun doesn't set on is not considered a fast. So, meaning, you always have to fast until the end of the day, until shkia, until sunset. So these are all the requirements. So even misanin l'sha'os, even a fast that's for a specific number of hours, we're now saying one is required to. It only works where you accept a number of hours if you are going to fast all the way until sunset. So actually, the Shulchan Aruch brings down these halachos, and the Shulchan Aruch says that this halacha that we're going to bring the Shulchan Aruch back in a moment for the next part. Fine. So far that works. That works that that in order to have a fast, it always has to go until the end of the day. So even if you're only being misanel l'shos for a specific number of hours, it has to go until the end of the day. It's not really for a specific number of hours. It means you accepted it partway through. You decided to fast partway through. Once you accept it, that works, but you have to finish until sunset. You can't accept now the next 3 hours, but not all the way until evening. Now the Gemara has a number of questions on this point. The Gemara says, Meisvei. We have a contradiction from a Mishnah later. The Mishnah says, Anshe Mishmar misanin v'lo mashlimin. The Anshe Mishmar, the men of the watch. So we're going to learn later in the Masechta that the Kohanim and the Leviim who served in the Beis Hamikdash, in the temple, they had shifts. Different families would come in each week and every 2 weeks and serve their term in the Beis Hamikdash. So in a situation where there was no rain and the congregation, the community accepted public fasts for rain, the Gemara says that the Anshe Mishmar, those who it was their week, those Kohanim and Levim, it was their week to be on the watch, they would fast, but they wouldn't finish the fast. They would fast half the day, whatever it was. They wouldn't finish the fast. So the Gemara is asking this as a contradiction. Rav Chisda just said that if you don't fast until sunset, it's not a good fast. And now it's saying that these men would fast partly, but they wouldn't finish it. So what's going on? So the Gemara explains, Hasam litzu'ure nafshe ba'amahu. You're right. It's not a fast. They were just trying to pain themselves, to distress themselves. Why? Because everyone else was fasting. They couldn't fast because they had a job to do in the Beis HaMikdash. But in order to be, like we spoke about earlier in a previous Gemara, in order to share in and empathize with the tzibor, with the rest of the congregation, so they would fast partially. That's what it's talking about. But indeed, it wasn't a real fast. Gemara has another question. Tashmar, come and listen. We have a brisa. Dam Rabbi Eliezer ben Tzadok. Rabbi Eliezer ben Tzadok said, Ani mi b'nei vanav shel Sana ben Binyamin. I am from the descendants of Sana ben Binyamin, from the certain family. Upam achas chal Tisha B'Av lios b'Shabbos, v'dachinuhu la'achar HaShabbos, v'hisaninu bo, v'lo hishamnuhu mipnei sheyom tov shalanu. So he said, Pam achas, one time, Tisha B'Av came out on Shabbos. So when Tisha B'Av falls out on Shabbos, it gets pushed off. So we pushed it off until Sunday. So Tisha B'Av was on Sunday that year. However, there's something special for this family about that day, right? Tisha B'Av is the 9th of Av. This family on the 10th of Av, they had a special family celebration because there were different families that were responsible. Again, we're going to learn this later in the Masechta. Different families that were responsible for bringing wood to the Beis HaMikdash, and when it was your turn to bring the wood, it was a great simcha, a great celebration. It was a yantif of sorts. And this family's turn was, and their yantif was on the 10th of Av. So they couldn't have Tisha B'Av if it was their yantif. So what did they do? Hisaninu bo, so we fasted, v'lo hishamnuhu. Now, of course, right, if they're fasting Tisha B'Av, that means there's no Beis HaMikdash. So what does it mean it was their week to bring the wood? The point is that he was just a descendant. The Beis HaMikdash is no longer standing. But this was one of the Yamim Tovim that's recorded for this family. And according to this opinion, even after the Beis HaMikdash, those Yamim Tovim were still around. There's other opinions we learned about in Maseches Rosh Hashanah that, I think we learned it there, that after the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, the various Yamim Tovim that are recorded in Megillas Taanis, which talks about all these different holidays, they were all nullified except for Hanukkah and Purim. But this opinion is maintaining that no, that they still kept these holidays. So this is one of the holidays that's in Megillas Taanis. This family celebrated on that day, the 10th of Av, and so they couldn't fast. You can't fast on those days. So they couldn't fast. So what did they do? Hisaninu ba v'lo hishamnuhu. We fasted, but we didn't finish the fast. Mipnei sheyom tov shalanu, because it was our Yom Tov. So again, you see this concept that they were fasting part of the day, but not completing it. So you see, you can have a half fast. So the Gemara says, no, there too. Hasam nami litzuri nafshi ba'amahu. No, again, they weren't fasting. In fact, they were not allowed to fast. They didn't eat they fasted part of the day, but didn't count as a fast. If you want it to count as a fast, like Rav Chisda said, you have to fast all the way until sunset. Tashma, we have another brisa, Da'am Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan would say, Ahei b'Taanis ad she'avo lebeisi. Rabbi Yochanan used to say that I'm going to fast until I get home. So, when would he say this? So the Gemara seems to understand, look, you see, he would fast. He would say, I'm going to fast until I get home, in 2 or 3 hours. So it was only a partial day fast. So you see that you don't have to fast the whole day until sunset. You can have a fast that ends just in a few hours into the morning. So the Gemara says, no. You know why he said that? Hasam lishmute nafshe mi bein asiyahu da'avad. He was just trying to get himself out of attending Suda at the house of the Nasi, of the prince. He wasn't really fasting. Either he didn't want to trouble them or he didn't want to trouble himself. He got these invitations to eat with the Nasi, with the leader, or to eat in his house, and he didn't want to, and so he would say, "I'm still fasting, until I get home." So that way, he would get out of eating, but he wasn't really accepting a fast. He was just trying to get out of the invitation. Amar Shmuel. Shmuel said, so here's another halacha within fasting. Kol Taanis shelo kibel ala mibod yom, lav shmei Taanis. A fast that you don't accept from the day before is not considered a fast. You have to accept the fast the day before. V'iyaseh, I asked the Gemara, if you don't accept it and you fast anyways, what is it? Is it worth anything? Amar Rabba bar Shila, dami limafucha demal yazika. It's similar to a blacksmith's bellows that are full of air. So this person also, just like the bellows are full of air, he's full of air, meaning he's empty inside. He fasted, but that's it. It's not worth anything. If you don't accept the fast the day before, so you'll be starving, you'll be hungry, you'll be empty, you'll be full of air, but you haven't actually gained anything. You're like a bellows that's full of air. Now, when Amos Makbileh asked the Gemara, when do you accept the fast? Rav Amar bin Mincha. Rav says you have to accept it mincha time, meaning in the afternoon of the day before. Ushmuel Amar b'tfilas mincha. Shmuel says you have to accept it during the actual prayer of mincha. So now let's pause for a second, because this is what I was trying to get to before. This seems to be a total contradiction of what we said before. Here we're saying that if you don't accept the fast the day before, it's not a fast. But we just had this whole Gemara about Misan and Lashos, about how you can fast for specific hours, and the way we explained it was that if you're in the middle of the day and you see you haven't eaten yet, it's only where you didn't eat yet. But if you didn't eat yet, you're allowed to say, okay, I'm going to fast for the rest of the day. And it counts as a fasting. You say Anenu. That's Misan and Lashos. So what's going on here? Are you allowed to accept the fast in the middle, or do you have to accept it from the day before? So the Mishnah Berurah brings down this seeming contradiction, because both of these halachos are paskin in Shulchan Aruch. And the Mishnah Berurah quotes from the Magen Avram that the resolution to this contradiction is that here where we say that you, in this new halacha that we're learning, that you have to accept the fast from the day before, so what it's talking about is you didn't expressly accept the fast, and you started fasting, but in your mind you were doing it as an obligation. In your mind you're doing it as an obligation, so there you don't have anything. And possibly, even if you would accept, you say, oh wait, I never accepted it, let me accept it from here on, that may not even work, because you already observed part of it as an obligation, and that was problematic. And that may that may ruin the whole thing. The fact that you started it as an obligation without having accepted it before, that may negate the ability to now even continue fasting with the formal acceptance. As opposed to in the first case, where you never formally accepted it. The case of Misan and Lashos is where you were not eating, not for the sake of fasting. You weren't under the impression that you were doing this as an obligation, because you never accepted it. You just happened to not eat. In that situation, then if you formally accept it, then you can continue to fast. But if you were already fasting under the impression that you were obligated, but you had never accepted it, so then that's certainly no good. It's not a fast because you never accepted it. And possibly even now, if you would accept a fast from here on out, that may also not work, because you observed part of it under the impression there was an obligation when really it wasn't. Okay, so now we have a machlokes between Rav and Shmuel as to when, from the day before, are you supposed to accept the fast. Rav said just at mincha time, meaning in the afternoon, and Shmuel said during tfilas mincha. Amar Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef says, Kavasei de Shmuel mistaber. What Shmuel says makes sense. D'chsiv, because it says in Megillas Taanis. So again, we briefly mentioned about Megillas Taanis. Megillas Taanis was a record, one of the first things ever written in Torah Shabbal Peh, oral Torah written down. It was a record of different holidays that the people, and some fast days, but holidays that the people had accepted upon themselves, during which it was forbidden to fast on or to eulogize because they were holidays. So it says there, Lahen, therefore, kol inish diyaisi ilui mikad masdana yaser. Anybody who accepts to fast before these, meaning before the holidays, anyone who accepts to fast before the holidays, yaser, he binds himself. If you accept to fast before the holidays, you bind yourself, and at least Rashi learns that you even would fast on the holidays if you accepted to fast before. My Rav, isn't it saying yaser atzma b'tzela, that you bind yourself during your davening? This word yaser is like a language of accepting an oath. The Gemara seems to assume that such an acceptance would specifically occur during davening. So it says, isn't it talking about where you accepted it at mincha time? And therefore Shmuel is correct. So the Gemara says, lo, ye'aser atzmo. You don't read it as ye'aser, you bind yourself with an oath. Rather, ye'aser atzmo, you forbid yourself. And it's effective to accept it, but it's not specifically during davening. It's just saying if you accept it, you have successfully forbidden yourself from eating, and even though it's a holiday, you would fast because you've accepted it. And it's not necessarily during davening, it could be just during the afternoon. That's the response that Rav would say. Now, Pligi Bahar Rabbi Chia, Rabbi Shimon Barabi. Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Shimon Barabi actually argue about what the proper reading of this line of Megillas Taanis is. Chad Amar Yiyaser, one of them said it's Yiyaser, he binds himself, again seemingly with an oath. V'chad Amar Ye'aser, and one of them said it means you forbid yourself. Mad Amar Yiyaser, Kedamrin, what would it mean that you bind yourself? So again, the Gemara is saying these are holidays that you normally can't fast on. So why all of a sudden that's not halacha, you're not allowed to fast on them? So how is it that it's saying if you do something before, then you're now allowed to fast on them? So if it's yiyaser, so the Gemara understands what it means is if you bind yourself with an oath, maybe seemingly during davening, so then that can override the holiday, and you would have to fast even on the holiday. That's if you understand the word to be yiyaser, because you're binding yourself with an oath. But l'manda amar yiyaser, but the one who just says you forbid yourself, but not necessarily with a special oath that would override holidays. Why would it override holidays? Why would these holidays are specifically that you're not allowed to fast? So what is it about yiyaser that if you forbid yourself, then now it works and your fast is effective, takes hold, and you're not allowed to eat on those days, and you're allowed to fast. So Mahi, how do we understand that? The Tanya with the following brisa. The Tanya Megillas Taanis, we learn in Megillas Taanis, it says, Kol inish de yaisi ila ilui mikad masdana, anybody who accepts the fasts before the holiday, ye'aser, he will be forbidding. Ketzad, so what's the case that by accepting it before the holiday you're forbidding? Yachid shekibel alav sheni v'chamishi v'sheni shakol hashana kula. Let's say a person at the beginning of the year says, I'm going to fast every Monday, Thursday, Monday. The whole year. Every Monday and Thursday. Ve'iru bam yamim tovim haksuvin v'megillas Taanis. And it comes out that there are holidays on those days that are written in Megillas Taanis. So im nidro kodem l'gzeirasenu yavtil nidras gzeirasenu. If his oath came before the decree for those holidays, so then his neder, his oath, overrides the holidays. Ve'im gzeirasenu kodemes l'nidra, but if our gzeira, our decrees, came before his neder, his oath to fast, Tivato gzeiraseinu es nidros. Then our gzeira, our decree, will override his neder, his vow. So the Gemara is saying that it's interesting. It's using the word vow. So he is taking some sort of vow, but the word ye'aser that he will forbid himself, it's saying is in a specific case, according to this opinion. It's in the specific case where a person accepted, let's say, to fast every Monday and Thursday the whole year. And right now, on the calendar, on Mondays and Thursdays, you don't have holidays, or maybe you have some, but so whichever holidays were not in existence when he took his oath, so like even if the rabbis will come and declare a new holiday, his oath overrides his holidays. It came first. But if the holidays were already in existence, and then he took the oath to fast on every Monday, Thursday, Monday, and there were some of those holidays fell out on Mondays or Thursdays, then the holiday would override the oath, and he would not be able to fast on those days. That's the case. Again, we're trying to understand here what exception is the Megillas Taanis making. The Megillas Taanis is talking about holidays that you're not allowed to fast. But it's saying, but if you accept your fast before, then you are allowed to fast. So what does that mean? What are the days that you're not allowed to fast? What are the days that you are allowed to fast? So the first understanding is normally you're not allowed to fast on these days. But if you accept at mincha time before with a specific way, so then it will override the holiday. And even the next day you could fast even though it's a holiday. That's one understanding. The Gemara's second understanding is no, that doesn't work. But what does work is if you accepted the fasts before those holidays even existed, and then it turned out that the holiday came out on the day that you had already accepted to fast, your acceptance overrides the fast. That's what it means to accept the fast before the holiday was even declared. The Gemara continues, says, Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Ad Masai Ochel V'Shoseh. Until when are you allowed to eat and drink before the fast? It says, Ad Sheyale Amud HaShachar. Until dawn, the first rays of light. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer Bar Shimon. That's the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer Bar Shimon. Divrei Rabbi. That's the opinion of Rabbi. Rabbi Eliezer Bar Shimon, Rabbi Eliezer, the son of Shimon, said, Ad Kros HaGever. You can only eat until the rooster calls, and that's right before dawn. So it's a slightly earlier time. That's when you have to stop eating. Amar Abaye said, Lo shano elo shelo gamar sudaso. When is it that you're allowed to continue eating during the night before the fast? That's if you haven't completed your meal. Aval gamar sudaso, but if you've completed your meal, eino ochel, you can't eat anymore. Once you complete your meal, you can't eat anymore. Esvei Rava asked a contradiction from a brisa. It says, Gamar ve'amad, hareza ochel. Even if you finished and stood up, you could still eat more. It says explicitly, even though you finished your meal, you could continue to eat. So the Gemara resolves the contradiction and says, Hasam kishalo silek. That's talking about where you didn't clear the table. You didn't clear off your meal. If you just got up from your meal, but you didn't clear everything off, then you could continue eating. Abaye, who said that once you end your meal, you can't eat anymore, he's talking about where you cleared everything away. Ikada Amri, there are those who said it brought a similar conversation in a different way. Amar Rava, it was Rava who spoke first. He said, Lo shanu elo kishalo yashan. When is it that you're allowed to continue eating at night before the fast? That's if you didn't go to sleep yet. Aval yishen eino ocha. But once you went to sleep, you can't eat anymore. The Gemara asks, Esvei. We have a contradiction. Esvei Abaye. Abaye asked a contradiction. A very similar quotation as before. Just here it says, Yashan va'amad. It says if a person went to sleep and then got up, hareza ochel. He's allowed to eat. So you see that no, even if you go to sleep, you are still allowed to eat until the fast starts. So the Gemara answers, no, Hasam b'misnamnein. Abaye was talking about where you went to sleep, but you were just drifting off. If you were just drifting off, then you can still get up and eat more. But once you really go to sleep, then you're no longer allowed to eat before the fast. Hechi dami misnamne. What is the case where you are drifting off? Rav Ashi explained, top of the next page, nim velo nim. It means you're you're kind of sleeping but not sleeping. Tir v'lo tir, you're awake but not awake. Dikaru le v'ani, if they would call your name, you would answer. V'lo yada durei svara, you wouldn't know how to say something that's logical. You can't think well. V'chimad kirile midkar, but if they remind you that, remember when we call your name, we had this conversation, you would remember. So the misnamning, drifting off, is a state where you're sleeping, not sleeping, awake, not awake. If someone calls your name, you'll hear them. If they ask you a question, you won't be able to really answer it, but you'll remember what happened. In that situation, it's not considered that you went to sleep, and you can still eat before the fast. But the Gemara says that if you went to sleep, then you would no longer be able to eat before your fast begins. All right, thank you for listening.